Hello! Today we're going to go over some how-to guides that I've started with CueCam that I've been making over the last few days, but I just couldn't help myself. I added quite a few new features along the way, so I'll show you. Okay. Okie doke. Right, this is Square's TV app lab number 48. We've got a private Zoom over here that I can dial people in if you have a question on Zoom in a breakout room. And if you have questions as I go, just put your hand up in chat or put up your hand in Zoom. So today I'm just going to jump into some updates. And hopefully this week we're in audio sync. Maybe I'll just verify that. Yeah, that sounds pretty good. And yeah, we shouldn't have too much crackling, although the crackling turned out to be last week anytime it played a video, and it was actually a pretty obvious thing to fix. So I did fix that. So it's a bit disheartening that when I pressed play on that video, it like something weird happened. So yeah, you're never quite sure. We will get through everything. So I have fixed the worst of it, but, you know, we'll get there. So a couple of updates. Shoot Pro webcam now has Apple log support. I put that in. That's a setting. And it on an iPad, it supports USB cameras. This is now on test flight. It's not in the App Store yet. There's some things that need to be done before I can actually ship it. And it's like the holiday period, so I'm not shipping stuff immediately. Well, it's hard to get stuff like App Store reviewed over Christmas, basically. So so that should be like in the new year, I guess that will come out. But if you're on test flight, then you should have that. And if you're not on test flight, just drop me an email. I can add you in, and then you can like get on that as well. So that's a bit of Apple log support. The only thing with the USB cameras is it doesn't properly. It handles the orientation, but it doesn't handle like plugging in a device and unplugging it, which was easy in Video Pencil, because that's always looking for different devices because it's got all the different types of video feeds. But Shoot is really just about the cameras on the device, so it doesn't really check if they've changed or know what to do if they have. So that's the only thing. So it would just mean having to like restart to just get the new cameras as you plug them in. But that's not great for USB, is it? Video Pencil, there was a bug. There was a bug with where the menus wouldn't work, and it didn't affect many people. It sort of affected one. For me, it happened once in a while, but it was stopping someone from being able to use it at all. And the bug, I do feel it's in Apple's frameworks, because there seemed to be a cut. So I put the little magic wand tool in, you know, this thing. But I also put a little pop-up to say, hey, happy season's greetings kind of thing. You get this pencil until the end of whatever. But that tooltip thing was just like conflicting with the menus for whatever reason, so I don't know. So that thing's going to disappear in the next few days anyway. But anyway, that bug fix is on test flight. So again, if you're having issues with Video Pencil at all, with the menus not appearing, just drop me an email and I'll add you to the test flight, and you'll be able to get up and running again immediately. So on to CueCam. I've been working on documentation, but as I said, I've ended up adding some features. Because, well, refining things, as I'm going to talk about this a bit more, but the new stuff is recording is in there. This is not released yet, but it will be released basically tomorrow. Recording is going to be in there in some form. We've got a new dashboard menu. I'll tell you what that is in a minute. You can now share by app rather than just by window or desktop. So that's just something that I had not got around to or quite figured out how it was going to work. But I'll tell you a bit about that as well. We've got branding overlays. If you just want to have a little bug in the corner, you can do that now. And also spotlight search. So I'll talk about that, but like now it's indexing your content in a smart way, basically. So you're going to be able to, you're going to be able to find your stuff more easily. So to start off with, like recording in the dashboard menu. Basically, at the weekend, I was just my partner was away, and I was just tinkering. I sort of bought myself some plugins, and I was playing with Ableton Live, and I realised I just wanted to be able to do a screen capture with CueCam on one screen, and it just ended up being so I just have like, I've got like a digital piano that's got a Bluetooth MIDI thing that I'm controlling the laptop, so I was sort of able to play something in, had my headphones in. It was a nice time. But I just wanted to get a snippet. So I was sort of like in a bit of a one screen scenario rather than like at the moment I've got 3 screens. So it just I realized some stuff I could do. So I have now put some functionality in a little top menu. So if we just, I think if we go to debug mode, demo mode, you should see that. If not, I'll go to desktop. No, you can't see that. So if we go to desktop share, you see up here, let's zoom. Up here, an exciting new dashboard. So this is basically the same thing that you see when you show the camera. You'll see it's had a bit of a redesign as well. I've put a little bit more context in there. But now you can navigate your script. You can select your cameras. You can select your screen shares. Here is apps. You can now select which app you want. And you can do the other, you can sort of go into a side out. So you can just sort of like access that from anywhere now, which you could not do before. So if we just toggle desktop is now one button. So let's see, and then there's a record button at the top of documents. So what does that look like? You see up here. There's a little there's a record button. So you'll hit record. Dare I? Tell me if anything goes wrong. Hit record. It goes get ready. It starts recording. That's there. You go finish. You go show file, and there's your recording. Which we're not going to see because we're not sharing the desktop. Let me just come out of demo mode and share my desktop, and then we will see if we go into Finder. There is the that worked really well. And honestly, like it's been kind of a dream like having that record button. I am just, as I said in the email, like I'm kind of in love with it, just being able to capture a little quick recording. So another trick that it has that, I mean, I've already found it quite useful, is that you can record directly into a card. So what I mean by that is, say you've got a card here, you can select video and you can go, oh, that's interesting. What's that going to do? You can, it's still, okay, I need to say okay, yeah. So we'll get onto this, but yeah, so if you go into video, there's record video. So now I could like record a quick video. Okay, let's draw this, let's do this, let's do that. And then when I press finish, that's actually going to get encoded, and that's now going to be on that card. So now when I press play on this card, quick video, okay, let's draw this, let's do this, let's do that. And then when I press finish, pretty good, right? I can see that being pretty handy. Like action replay or whatever. I love, see that makes up for it, like going weird when I earlier went at the start of the stream. Anyway, so you do have to opt into this at the moment. It is still, it's sort of saves it into your temp folder, which can get cleaned up. So you just have to make sure you copy it out of there. It's not quite ideal UX wise, but it's just such a dream to be able to just quickly get a recording without having to sort of go through QuickTime or eCam or anything, or OBS. But and to opt into that, it's just in I'd say too much. In output, recording, experimental, allow recording, and then there's an option there which you can just select, and then that will just make the record buttons appear. So just, yeah, the main reason, well, just to sort of say what's wrong with it as well. I haven't figured out how to stop the XPC process that connects to the camera in the background, which means that CueCam always thinks there's a camera running now once you've done one recording, and then that sort of is consuming resources. And like so the way it decides whether or not to show this audio bar is like if something's using the camera, now something's always using the camera, so you can't get rid of the recording bar. The record to card functionality is a bit weird still. There's a bit too much of a lag before I kind of want it to feel a bit more immediate, but actually I don't mind the little countdown because it gives you a chance to get ready. Early on I had some weird audio weird like glitching in the audio, which I didn't love. I haven't seen it for a while. It was happening. I still don't know what. So I know what the video playback crackle was, but there's one other mysterious source of crackle that I haven't really hunted down yet, but we're going to find it. Usually just a quick restart of CueCam will completely resolve it and it'll be fine. But yeah, and then the other thing I realized with this is when CueCam is being used as a virtual camera, you're sort of like 1080p 30 frames a second max, really, like over the network. But now, you know, say you do want to record a tutorial for a piece of Mac software or something, you really then do want high resolution 60 frames a second. Like, you can tell it's a bit choppy. Like I could see that my plugins looked a bit like choppier than they do when I'm looking at it, and it's because it's not 60 frames a second. So I did spend a couple of hours on Monday morning seeing if I could get 60 frames a second in easily, but it is quite, because you've got like the CueCam, you've got like CueCam sits here and then like the virtual camera extension sits here. These have to sort of communicate with each other through slightly mysterious mechanisms that I've sort of got it working enough that I can communicate like custom information between the two, but then there is some built-in frame rate stuff, obviously, and so I do know how to like tell it I want 60 frames a second, but I am not quite sure the best practice for like interrupting and restarting the streaming session. So it's just something that it was not trivial, so I sort of stepped back because it's like it's a nice to have for next year maybe. So yeah, and what also came out of that session was just being able to select an app, which I've been meaning to do for ages. But one of the things, if you want to limit which apps are visible, you have to choose a desktop. And that was when I first came to this, I was like, I don't know what that's going to be. But now that we have this concept of like your default desktop, your desktop that you're going to share, so CueCam knows what the desktop you usually share is. Now, when you share an app, it'll limit it to that app. It just kind of limits it to that desktop. So like if you share a window through CueCam, you can have that window anywhere and it's going to find it and show it. But if you have if you share an app, which is all the windows that the app has currently and in future, then it's going to be restricted to that one desktop, which is kind of how it works under the hood. And I think it makes a lot of sense. And also something that you couldn't do before when sharing your screen, if we have a quick go into demo mode, you can zoom in. But what you couldn't do before was you needed to use your trackpad before, but now you can use your or you could use your mouse, but now you can zoom with your mouse and sort of like zoom into something. And it's also got here a little, which didn't exist before, a little just like reset zoom button there, just so you can get back to where you wanted it. So that wasn't in CueCam until now. Next, yeah, I just had a chat with the Johns on Monday. Hi, John. And there was that question of the branding, and it's something I knew I was going to have to put in CueCam, but I wasn't quite sure what the UX of that would be. But now that's in there. So let's say I don't have let's use the video thumbnail. I'll show you how to do it quickly. So if we go into demo mode, now if I pop open the sidebar, you see there's a little branding slot here. So I can just drag in a thing, and that's now going to be my little like bug in the top right corner. So that doesn't happen until you sort of press, like until you kind of enter into a presentation. But now that's just going to be up for the duration of this presentation. So you can do anything you want with that. It will just be whatever size you made it, and it will just kind of scale. It will be whatever size you did, and then I would just recommend putting a bit of transparent margin around it just so that it's not colliding with the edge of the screen, but I've left that to you. So I'm just going to remove that for the next card. So I'm sure you'll want more options, like which corner it's in, but like we'll start from there. I think less is more for a lot of these things to start with. So that's what I've done. So now you can, and it also, like if you had just a full screen, okay, so it goes into that corner. It's really hard to know, but if you just made a full 1080p transparent image, it would just be wherever it is on that transparent image. So there's a workaround to get it wherever you want. But it's easy to just drag an icon or something up as well. A story I wrote down on Friday. I'm going to tell you what happened to me on Friday. So, as I've been saying, documentation is really key to CueCam. I really need to be like fleshing out like all the nooks and crannies, look, quick how-to guides. How do you do this? How do you do that? And I'll just tell you what that feels like, being the developer and the documenter. So Friday, I sat down at my desk. I opened up the user guide document with the best of intentions. I scrolled to the how-to guides section. I went, okay, I'm going to work on... I saw the wording. It was like direct sharing. And I said to myself, I need a better name for this. This is that no one knows what that means. And so I was like, well, I can at least put a picture of it so that people know what that is. And so I was like, okay, I'll find a picture. But I was like, I took this screenshot last week. And a couple of weeks ago I took this screenshot. So I've got it somewhere. And then I don't know where it is. And then I was hunting for it last week to find it. And then I eventually found it. And I dragged it into last week's demo. And now I can't find it again. And so I said, it's actually the installation checklist that I had the screenshot of. And I was like, it's such a pain to take this screenshot because I've got to set it. I've got to like uninstall stuff and then stuff goes weird. And I was just like, it just keeps happening. So, and I don't want to go hunting like this every time. I want to add spotlight indexing for cards so that I can quickly find the card that's got it on, so that even if the image isn't named something sensible, I'll be able to find it. So I did some research to figure out how to update the search index for a document. I put a hook in so that when a file is saved, and that took a bit of figuring out, it indexes it on your Mac. And this worked, and now I could see my cards in Spotlight. And I was like, hey! But then it wouldn't jump to the file, like it would just show me. And so now, I can't figure out how to get the Spotlight to know where the file is. Like it will show me that the thing exists, but it gives me no mechanism for actually jumping to it. So I had to figure out some elegant way of triggering, like the place that it knows where it's saving the file doesn't actually know where that file is, which is really annoying. So now I had to sort of like find an elegant way of triggering it from somewhere that does know where the file is, which meant rebuilding a few little bits and bobs. And then I had to like create my own like index of where the files live because QuickLight doesn't give me that. So now I've got like this local path where I'm sort of having to keep track of all this stuff. So that took an hour. And then I was like, I wish I could see the thumbnails because I'm really looking for an image actually. So I spent some more time trying to get the card images to show up with the search results. And then I was like, oh, but I'd also like to see video thumbnails. But then I don't save the video thumbnails. I use Quick Look thumbnailing API to show the thumbnails. And then this takes like a minute to generate. And now suddenly I haven't got a synchronous bit of code. I've got to make it like work on a background thread and come back. And so I had to figure out how to do that in the process that it saves the file. And then with all this done, I was finally able to go through my recent scripts. I still had to manually go through the scripts, but I was like, okay, I found it, saved it. Now I know it's indexed for next time, and that was just 2 hours to add one screenshot, and then it was lunchtime. And it's like... like, the whole point of that was like... the whole point of that was to speed me up. I do a lot of this, speed myself up in future by spending 3 hours to do it now. And I think XKCD did a calculation you can do. But like, this is good for you. This is good for everyone. It keys into some other stuff, and I wanted to do it. So, by the way, I then like wrote up this story while it was fresh, but I noticed that the prompts, I was like, oh, these teleprompter prompts are getting a bit long. What if I could scroll them? And then another hour went where I was like, can I make it maybe auto scroll or give you a scroll wheel in the... So another hour's gone by and I've added 2 screenshots into the documentation. But now when you save a CueCam doc, it is now indexed by Spotlight, and you can find the text of individual cards and see any attached videos and images. So that's cool. So with that in mind, I'll show you how far, I'll show you what sort of how-to guides we've got. Am I coming in a bit hot? I think I am coming in. I'm going to just cut myself a little bit and try and stay in the green and not in the orange so much. Yeah, let's head to the website. and have a look at where we're up to. So this is the CueCam presenter guide. We've got some unfilled in tutorials, but here's the oh no, it's not. Oh yeah, so as part of all this, I decided it's not called live editing, it's called the dashboard. So now this thing here, by the way, this is the screenshot that caused all the problems. This thing, because it's like to sort of make it, you know, to make it not have all the ticks, or it doesn't show up if all the ticks are there. Anyway, annoying. Maybe I'll just come in a little bit closer on this window. What are we talking about? So I've done some stuff on the dashboard. So let's just have a look what's in there, and I shall yeah. Let's just also hide this slide title. Now, first one, how to change your main camera. So CueCam has a concept of your main camera. Let's come into here and do demo mode so we don't get feedback. Under here, main camera. So this is the camera that you're generally talking to, and that shows up when you are, like, this is the one that's in picture. So you're not like doing this awkward thing that you do in other software where you're kind of building these scenes and adding a camera and adding this camera, or sort of creating the A camera, the B. You got your main camera, you just say what that is. So then the instructions for changing your main camera, assuming you know what that means, are just use this drop down menu, select a main camera. So that's how-to guide number 1. And maybe like not everyone sort of immediately clocks that is a drop down. Oh my goodness. Right. How to guide number 2. How to use your iPhone or iPad as a main camera with Shoot. So then this one gets a bit more interesting. Install and launch Shoot on your iPhone. So we link off to Shoot. In CueCam, just click the camera button to reveal the dashboard, which is, again, or you can actually do it from up here now. And then Shoot will appear. So we can just simulate that. If I just launch Shoot on my iPhone XR, which is just in a little stand, making itself useful, you see now Shoot appears in this drop down, and we can pick as our main camera. Let's say, should we pick the virtual green screen? Well, maybe we'll do that in a moment, because it also says, you know, it shows it. Oh, by the way, to show this, I was just unhappy with how this, it had check marks and then check mark, another check mark. So I sort of updated this to look a bit more sensible in the screenshot. So it's like you selected Shoot, and then this is the camera that you're using. So that was a bit more, that was some work that went into making this document look good. And then a little note on teleprompter view, and then a note on troubleshooting, because I know a couple of people have had some stuff. Are your devices on the same network? Do you have restrictive firewall settings? And then just a, like, you know, if there's any issues, just try like a Foursquare. So I think that's a pretty good how-to. Another thing I've been meaning to do for ages is how to hide your main camera. So what we can do, let's come out of here, I'll show you in demo mode. Now, oh, this is the wrong window. Let's try that again. So now in demo mode, if you see here, if I just click that button now, it's on my desktop, but like I can hide my main camera now just by clicking on that button. And but the other part of this is if you want to add a placeholder or background or be right back message, you can do that as well. So let's go and have a look at the let's come back to desktop sharing, come out of demo mode. It's always a lot of juggling to show this stuff, isn't it? So let's have a look how to add a placeholder message. So we can reveal the sidebar. Let's do this like this actually. Oops. Let's go. Wait, I need to be in CueCam and then come back to here. So, oh no, that's not going to work. Yikesy. So what we can do is, and let's just get rid of this. So in the sidebar, we can pop that out, what is the next thing we have to do? The next thing we have to do is find the camera. So these backgrounds are per camera, which makes sense in a lot of situations, although, and then if you do want it to be the same for, so if you had like different angles, you might want to have different backgrounds on them, was my thinking. So if you are using, let's say, Shoot or FaceTime, well, you shouldn't be using FaceTime HD camera, but let's say my good camera is USB video. So you see, I can click there, and then I've got this background image, and I can just say, okay, I want some nice flowers when I am. You see, so that's now like the general background image. Oh, this is a really low resolution picture, by the way, that I just dragged out of Google's image search earlier. But like, if I now hide the main camera, and I haven't got my desktop shared, and I hide the main camera, then now this is what people are going to see. So you can obviously imagine like putting some sort of be right back, or some placeholder in there, or even just if you don't want one, you can always just if I just remove that again, to remove it is just a case of click on it, click on the cog next to the camera, click remove, background image is gone now. So that is how you change the background picture. Come back to the desktop. Then how to use a green screen was the next thing I wanted to do. So step 1, reveal the sidebar, find your camera. So it's the same thing, pop up, and there's just a toggle for green screen. And so you'll get a transparent background. When you're full screen, the background image will appear behind you, and when you're sharing content, instead of being the background image, I should probably link that. And when sharing content, instead of being in a circle, you'll be composited into the image at a slightly larger size. I'll show you what that is. At the same time as showing you, did you know, as we go through these, we discover these like relationships between things. This is actually the next one. Use your iPhone as a virtual green screen camera with Shoot. So if we click into there, actually I prefer doing it here, so we still have the sidebar. So we can go into Shoot on, I'll just sort of describe this, but if I'll go into Shoot on my phone, on my iPhone, I will enable experimental. Under experimental settings in Shoot, there is a virtual green screen option. And then if I select, now my camera 3 in Shoot, if I select it, will be the virtual green screen. And if I just select that as the camera, now I am on a green screen. And so this is like you see, it's like not the world's cleanest green screen, but it's using the depth camera, and you can adjust it, but I'll show you the continued instructions. Is it being a bit choppy? It is being very choppy. Okay. So if we come back to if we come back to here, if I go into demo mode, so we select our Shoot. I should probably have these there, but if I just click green screen now, we're transparent. If I had a background, that would now be behind me. This is going to be easier to see if we're normal. So now I'm transparent, and if I'm sharing my screen, I'm in the corner like this. Hello. And we can just talk like that, and all I'm using is Shoot, and it's a bit awkward, but something you do get is if we come into a side, something this is weird because the screen is like, you do get some adjustments here as well. So the blur and the gamma settings let you kind of like sort of tweak it a little bit, and you can do that from inside CueCam to see if you can get like a slightly better key. But yeah, I mean, I think depending on your hairstyle, I think bald people will find this very useful. I think people with hair, it looks kind of unnatural. So yeah, we are now, but I'm going to go back to my other camera. Oh, it's lost my LUT. Let me see if that, you see, so you see with all of these things, there's always some little surprise, isn't there? How do I make it like reapply my LUT? I think maybe if I, there's a stage at which maybe if I toggle green screen on here. Yeah, there we go. The LUT came back. Okay, we need to iron out these things. I'm hearing a couple of oh no, I didn't. I'm hearing fictional things. Right, I'm going to come back to the desktop. Oops. We're going to come back to the desktop. And as I just mentioned, you do get controls in here where you can sort of adjust these settings under the virtual green screen. So that's how to use Shoot as your green screen. Why is this like, it was zoomed in and then it stopped being zoomed in, and now, yeah, okay. And then finally, I've got a how to quickly share your desktop. So this is actually, you see that the annoying thing is like this is already slightly out of date because now you don't even need to toggle the camera. You can just go up to here. But yeah, the long and short of it is click share and that will share your desktop. And it's going to, now something I did change last week was it now shows you the name of your main camera, shows you the name of your preferred desktop in there. And then if you're sharing something else, it shows you what's in there. But this is going to share my preferred desktop when I click on it. If you have more than one monitor, you can select, if you press the triangle on the right side of the share button, so as you see here, we can go share and we can choose which display. And I did do a bit of work to make this my preferred one, because this was just like somewhere down the list and you had to like look at the list and go, which one is my main camera? But now it highlights that, puts it up at the top of the list, and it's easier to ignore. This is the one that, this is my iPad in my teleprompter, and this is my big like 4K monitor that sits to the side that I often glance at. And then this desktop will be automatically used whenever you click the share button, and you can also set your preferred desktop via the top menu. So if we were in CueCam, you can go, wait, that's not the CueCam menu. You can go output, no, present, shared desktop, and you can say which one is your preferred desktop up there as well. That's how I originally did it until I made it behave in a slightly different way. Have we got, so that's, I think, so annoyingly, like that's most of what I've got through, to be honest. We can come back and have a look. Some of the other how-to guides, I've got some how to download. So I have taken the time to just like manually document the download process and installation, just to sort of like let people know what's involved with that. And I've got how to use Video Pencil with it. And then finally, some stuff like, so you see, I've not got very far with this. I added how to share your screen with a screen deck. So that's in there. Oh, this was, I literally, like, this is another one that I ended up updating. So this you used to have to go to the sidebar, but yeah, to share your desktop from a Stream Deck, find the website action in the Stream Deck app, drag that to a button, and then Control-click on the sharing button in CueCam. So now you can right-click to copy a deep link to whatever is currently being shared, and then paste that in, and that's going to look like CueCam toggle share. And then you can choose a better icon. I use this one, but yeah. So this will just toggle whatever the current share is. So if I've got it set up on my Stream Deck now. If I press it now, it's going to bring me back to the main camera. If I were to drag a video, maybe, or let's drag the thumbnail for this. Say I wanted to say, hey, here's the thumbnail I made. Wow, look at that weird mess. If I press my Stream Deck button, that's now going to not get rid of that. Okay, because I guess that counts as a slide. Okay. Because it's technically, that was a slide, not a share. So never mind. If I shared a video, it would get rid of it. Such as this. Such as this. Yeah, and then if I press the button, yeah, that got rid of that. And then press it again, it takes me back to the desktop. But yeah, so that was another thing. Again, like tiny little document, hours of work behind the scenes to make the document tiny. The goal is a small document, right? The goal is not complex instructions to achieve a simple task. I do not know why that just disappeared. What just happened there? Apple. Right, so that is about as far as I've got up to with the with the user guide, because everything I add is like a ton of tweaking and improvements. So I do see a couple of comments. Rakesh said, very useful. I think that was about the record to a card, especially you being able to quickly add it to a back roll, which you can show. So yeah, I'm quite excited about it. And then Jeff says, I recommend a name that feature channel in Discord. I have tried this. We did have it for CueCam, but I just found out it was a bit of an echo chamber with the odd thumbs up on things. So I think usually it's, if I sit down for a moment, I can think of a better name for something. So yeah, I've had to, like, this is something I've had to learn as a solo indie entrepreneur developer doing everything. It's really useful to name your features. So we've got live titles, we've got shoot studio, we've got aside 3D, we've got the dashboard, we've got, like, so it's just, just something. This is what Apple does all the time, isn't it? They just like name every freaking feature and then they talk about that. They're able to talk about it. And I just found, as soon as I tried to write some documentation, but I didn't have a word to refer to the feature by. So, it's just, yeah, it's very important. So we're rolling to a close. So if there aren't questions or comments, I will start winding this up. It's not the most busy. I see some thumbs up from John on Zoom. So what I will say is, if there's not too much coming out, Discord is where we hang out, and you can get help when I'm asleep, or usually immediately from me at random times of day, or away over the holidays. So I will be going up to see my family on the train. It's further than it used to be this weekend. But I will be back next Wednesday afternoon. So I don't know, like, part of me is like, maybe I should just take a week off, but the other part of me is like, I won't actually be traveling. Maybe we can just do a fun one and just not, like, because I'm not going to have done any work really. Like, I'm not going to have added and loaded new stuff or had time to do much preparation, but maybe we can just have a little session. I can just say hello and just use the room, make sure it doesn't go no one else like squats it next week. But I don't know what people are doing over the holidays either. But yeah, so thank you so much for watching. I thought, this is something I've been meaning to do for a couple of weeks, I thought I'd let my little brother play us out with a little song. So he's done a little cover of a song, and you will see his YouTube channel up on the thing. So I hope you enjoy this. I hope you have a great holiday weekend, if that's what you're doing. And I will, if I don't see you next week, I will see you in 2 weeks. And yes, I see some waves, and I will now, yeah, play us out, Foz.
Just a small town girl living in a lonely world. She took a midnight train going anywhere. Just a city boy, born and raised in South Detroit. He took a midnight train going anywhere. Smoky room, the smell of wine and cheap perfume. For a smile they can share the night. It goes on and on and on and on. Strangers waiting up and down the boulevard, their shadows searching in the night. Streetlight people living just to find emotion, hiding somewhere in the night. Don't stop believing, hold on to that feeling. Streetlight people